paper magic will survive like the heat death of the universe, and will...
Oh, it's a smuggler's copter. Would you like to crew this? And then it crashes because they don't understand arithmetic.
All your cards belong to me.
2 minutes into macing him in the eyeballs, I switched to pepper spray. He's like, it's downright refreshing. And went back to the mace.
Magic is dying. I'm done. Selling everything.
I might be a hoarder. And yes,
I don't have the crayons or glue to explain this to you right now.
What, are you gonna die twice?
Oil will be worthless before magic cards will.
well, okay, Dr. Man.
That's Mr. Dr. Professor Jason.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Brainstorm Brewery. I am your host, Corbin Hostler. I am your host, Douglas Johnson. I am your host, Jason Alt. I have been completed. I am all of Brainstorm Brewery now. I am Phyrexianized / Hollow-fied. Shout out to Matt, who did our thumbnail from last week, and I got to be Ichigo from Bleach. That was great. But I have two very special podcasters here with me today. We are taking over for Corbin, who is sick, and Jason, who is still on hiatus right now. Welcome Cass, the regular, the shirt ambassador, the Coalesce shirt ambassador, and Kyle Lopez / Bash McAllister / something else.
It's your boy Lope.
It's your boy Lope is the OG Twitter handle. Yes. Welcome Cass and Kyle.
Howdy.
To the show. Again.
It's always good to be back. You know, as the only non-Phyrexianized host, I am the last hope of Mirrodin.
Wait,
So, you ready for
I'm
that?
Phyrexianized too? I'm Phyrexianized too? Huh.
Well, you're a guest.
You're not a host though. That's the
Yeah.
That's fair.
You have to get like 6 extra arms and they have to all be swords to be a podcast host. The bar's gone up. I used to like back in the day. I just had to do like 10 push-ups with a 5-year-old on my back to be a host. The bar has been raised.
One of my earliest memories of you is watching you running around at some GP in like the New York area with a suit on with 2 5Ks bouncing from vendor to vendor. It was adorable.
My first memory of you, Kyle, was at a party
Here we
in
go.
Vegas. You had a money gun full of basic lands, and you were shooting them at people.
First of all, it was a money gun of money, and Helene Bergio sprayed that over everybody because she was drunk and she was a lot of fun.
You were spraying basic lands at people at one point in the night.
I don't remember all of that night, so that might be true.
I'm well aware.
That was pre-completion. That was pre-completion.
Yes.
So we have a lot of Phyrexia to talk about this week. We have a whole ton of story stuff that happened for all of you lore enthusiasts. We have a lot of additional teasers coming out for cards that didn't get leaked. Mark Rosewater has announced his little all will be one teaser where he names little attributes of the cards and we get to guess some things about them. So start thinking about what the next sword will be if it's not previewed by the time this podcast comes out. And we are going to do some lore stuff. It's gonna be great. I have not paid attention to the Magic story since like War of the Spark, probably. I think that's where a lot of us got shut off from it, just in terms of information overload and the way that the story was conveyed. It was a little heartbreaking to watch the Twitch stream when they are like sort of going into the first announcements of New Phyrexia, and then we got that little 20-second bit of Elish Norn's hand. And I was like, oh, this is going to be another War of the Spark trailer. We're going to get 3 minutes of, like, her plunging her hands into Jace or something. And then it just, like, cuts to black, and it's like, Phyrexia, all be one. This was our budget. And it's like...
Like the most hype set of all time, and it's like, here's 29 seconds, eat it.
Phyrexia, all will be one. You pay for the whole seat, but you're only going to need the edge. That's their official tagline, actually.
Yeah, like we got 3 minutes of like a Johnny and Teferi and a Johnny falling out of a window, and then like 30 seconds of not even of Elish Norn. It was like, what?
I mean, we went from, you know, a Linkin Park song in the trailer to we could have had like a Limp Bizkit song or something. Made Mark Nestor happy.
Hold on. First off, that Linkin Park song was a banger. That version anyway. That trailer was a banger. This is the best one they've ever done, besides the original New Phyrexia, in my opinion. Linkin Park's cool now. Didn't you know that?
They've always been cool.
They've always been cool.
I
will advocate that.
Yeah.
You know what else has always been cool?
What?
the guessing game that we do on this podcast, where we introduce specific cards that people might have in their collections, and then we talk about certain attributes of those cards, and then you should pull those cards out of your bulk and bring them to me at the next Magic convention that you go to, like Magic Philly, where I will be next month, and it's going to be great.
I'll be there too.
Breaking bulk time. Breaking bulk time. Break.
Oh, yeah, breaking bulk. There's so much good stuff.
It's a pick. Breaking bulk. The end.
So I accidentally spoiled my breaking bulk during the pre-cast discussion this week. It was a bit of a fumble, but thankfully I came prepared with a stack of breaking bulk cards on my desk. And so this one, neither of you have heard of. This is a Invasion Green Uncommon.
Invasion Green.
Invasion.
Yes.
Is it
That's all we get?
like a? No, there's no phthalids in that.
You got to
set.
give us a little bit of a hint.
Is it like Thornscape Battle Mage or something?
Yeah,
It is
it's
not a battle mage.
it's definitely
but
not like
It is an enchantment.
I was gonna say
give you
it's
that.
not.
Ground, or-
It's definitely not like a Kavu. You said enchantment.
Is it Fertile
Oh.
Ground or something?
It's not fertile ground.
Damn.
Utopia is something. No, it's
Utopia Tree's a rare creature.
Utopia
Yeah.
Tree is a rare.
true.
It's an enchantment? Is it an aura or is it like just an enchantment?
It is just an enchantment.
Invasion. Common or uncommon?
Uncommon.
Uncommon.
Yeah.
This is anywhere from 10 cents to a quarter on buy list. TCG Market is like 55 cents or 60 cents. Around there.
This is such a blind spot for me.
No, that's an instant. Never mind.
I don't think it has any reprints.
No idea.
Yeah, you got me. I'm stumped.
This is Elfheim Sanctuary.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
You have the option every turn to skip your draw step and get a basic land instead.
Honestly,
no
that
reprints.
Yeah, that card's kind of good.
That card's powerful, yeah.
It just does a very basic thing. I think it is the most the kind of player that is most likely to buy this card is somebody who will buy it on Amazon for like $2.99 after getting mana screwed against their friend.
Yeah.
Like it's like their sixth game of Magic, and they just discovered that you can buy Magic singles, and they're just going through their mind like Vietnam flashbacks of like drawing not land after not land. They're like, never again. Order 4 of these. My curve will be perfect from now on.
You know, people in competitive formats have played things like Borderland Ranger, and this card is a lot better than those, especially when you're playing casual Magic. So that makes sense.
All right, who's next?
I also accidentally spoiled my Breaking Bulk, so we're changing it up. Mine is an AFR common.
Good, because I can't act. You were like, oh, I'll just pretend to know DJs, and then I was just like, I don't know how I'm going to pretend to not know Casses. I'm too pretentious for that.
Sorry, it's an AFR black common. And it's an instant.
I'll take the bait.
Yeah, me too.
Is it Deadly Dispute?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
It's
say.
not.
Okay, there's the I was the mouse that stepped on the trap, and okay, the second mouse can get the cheese. So
That's the only black instant I know from that set, so I'm out.
Let me make sure I have
Wait.
the right set on this one.
Wait, is it the card that does the same thing as your other Breaking Bulk pick? Is it like a 1 black bring the creature back when it dies card?
Maybe.
Okay.
Don't call me out like this. Yeah, it's Feign Death from AFR. It's a 1 mana instant. Until end of turn, target creature gains. When this creature dies, return it to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control with a +1/+1 counter on it. Pretty good with Grief and Fury in the modern black-red scam deck. Card's over $1.
Wait, okay, so I've seen people describe black-red scam.
Sure.
Is that like an acronym? Is that like this deck just scams you out of like playing the game? Like, is it like...
it scams you real hard. The deck plays like things like Malakir Rebirth, Feign Death, Undying Evil, and 4 copies of Grief and 4 copies of Fury. Because turn 1, you just like pitch cast a Grief, take a card from their hand, buy it back with Feign Death. You have a 4/3 menace in play. You took 2 cards out of their hand.
So people were talking about this like when Grief got previewed with Ephemerate. It was like Grief was one of the first cards previewed from Modern Horizons 2, and
there's a
everyone
lot of
immediately-
hype behind that card.
Yeah, everyone was like, Ephemerate's going to ruin the format, and like they ended up being right, but for a different reason, in a weird roundabout way. I was also under the impression that like black was one of the weakest colors in modern Magic.
Yep. The reason the deck is actually good isn't even Grief. It's Fury. Being able to buy back a Fury is so powerful.
That card is so fucking good.
And the deck kind of has the shell of like being a red-black Jund deck where you have like Thoughtseize, you have Dauthi Voidwalker. You just kind of, you get a lot of free wins with the deck. As someone who loves modern Yawgmoth, it's my worst matchup by like a million miles. I'll play any other matchup before I play that one. And the deck is fine. Its worst matchup is itself. But it's also
What
made
does that
cards
even
like...
mean? Its worst matchup is itself.
The deck loses a lot to inconsistency and like not...
Oh,
doing
okay. I
powerful
think about like
enough
the mirror
things
match.
sometimes.
I was like, how does
Oh, no.
the worst mirror match? Like what? Okay, yeah.
I imagine the mirror match is some of the most miserable Magic you can play. It's just like Thoughtseizes and Griefs going back and forth. No one has any resources
Ooh,
over top
yikes.
decks. The Fury wins. Yeah, not for me.
So yeah, mine was spoiled as well. But I was gonna say Suture Priest because it's been the #1 selling card for us for like a month and a half. But I'm gonna go with our #2 selling card, which is also a white creature, common from Modern Horizons. 1, not 2.
White common creature from Modern Horizons 1.
Is it Segovian Angel?
That's it. Yeah.
Got it in 1.
Yeah, we sell more of those than we can possibly. Like if you brought a truckload of that card to me, I'd be out in like 3 weeks.
I only know what that card is because I love the flavor on it.
So wait, let me.
Yeah, it's
let me
really
get this
cool.
right. This is a 1/1 flying lifelink for 1, right? It's just like a.
Yeah, it's just like a 1/1 flying
It's
life.
an angel.
It's
Right.
an angel as well. Yeah.
It's a tiny. The flavor on it. It's a tiny angel.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's just like a little Tinkerbell kind of looking thing.
Yeah.
Love
It's
it.
really charming. Because it's a reference to Segovia, which is like a tiny little world.
Yeah. Like was it the
Wait,
green card, right?
I don't know this reference to Segovia.
I think Segovia is like a homelands thing.
I think it's base set. I said base set. Alpha Beta. I've been around Pokemon too long. Alpha Beta Unlimited. I believe.
It's Legends, actually. Segovian
Legend?
Leviathan. It is a 5-mana 3/3 Leviathan. And the flavor text says, the Legends version, the flavor text says, Leviathan 2, can you catch him with a fishhook or run a line round his tongue? Which is actually a quote from the Bible from Job 40:25.
Jesus.
Wow. Yeah, that's a.
But the joke is it's a little Leviathan.
So the thing with Segovia, I believe, is it's a plane. It was a plane, like because
Well,
Legends
it's the
had a bunch of
plane
different
where
planes.
it's the plane where like
Everything's
the-
miniature.
No, I was gonna say it's the plane where Quicksilver died, right? Like, isn't that where like in Avengers
The-
2? Like,
The Segovian Accords, right.
Yeah,
They reference it
close
all the
enough.
time.
Yeah.
I don't actually
Wow,
know
I
how
didn't even
far
know.
off I am on that. Like,
I feel like it's pretty
Sokovia.
Sokovia.
okay, I was
yeah.
real close then.
Yeah.
I was like, that sounds right.
Some Eastern European language. I was like, the joke's there. It's fine. I did Google. What made me think of that is I Googled Segovia. I was like, that has to be a Magic only term, right? No, it's a city in Spain.
Huh.
Oh, that's cool. It's like
Yeah.
a real place.
But if I go to the actual Magic Wiki, Segovia is a plane where everything exists in miniature at a 1/100 scale.
Hell yeah, my boom.
The largest creature, a Segovian Leviathan, is about the size of a Dominarian elephant. When planeswalkers visit this plane, they are automatically Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. What?
That's awesome.
The people of Segovia watch sports such as chariot races in arenas called hippodromes. It was once visited by Nico Boas, who noted its vastly aquatic nature. And now I'm just picturing like a Nico Boas with like a helium voice. He just talks like this.
The Hippodrome is actually referenced on a plane chase card. It's one of my least favorite plane chase planes.
I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember what it does.
I don't either. I just remember I hate it.
I just picture like old Magic developers and designers just sitting around on a couch, like just smoking a little bit of weed. Like, what about like a tiny plane? And the other guy's like, "You got it, bro."
You've got like Elon Musk on Joe Rogan, like, we can make the plane really small, but it's Morrow instead.
Even the big Leviathans are tiny.
Hey, Hey, Rosewater, how tall are you?
Exactly.
Okay, so the Hippodrome is on Segovia, and it is a chariot race, and I remember playing this card unsleeved with my friends on the kitchen floor. It's a plane chase card, so it's a plane. All creatures get -5, -0. Right. So that just sucks. And then the what do you call it? The chaos effect when you roll when you hit the 6 on the die, you may destroy target creature if its power is 0 or less. Which is just
makes the game
not,
slow down.
Yeah, it's up there with like the one that mills everyone for 10 every turn.
I like that one because it ends the game.
But like, there's one person who just happened to play a graveyard deck.
For sure, yeah.
I've never played Plane Chase before.
Oh, it's so much
fun.
Yeah, I've heard that.
As long as you build the right deck beforehand, it is a blast.
I just play with the precons, honestly.
No, I mean like you either build a planar deck.
Oh, right.
Like, you can't have it be full of hippodromes. Like, you have to, like, select the planes to make it, like, a good gameplay experience.
I honestly just, like, have one of each of the planes in a deck, and, like, that's it.
Okay, I respect that.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Oh, you know what's another good game for the cast? It should be a Arch Enemy Scheme or Metal Song.
We did that. We've done that.
Oh, okay. That's
I think it was only once or twice thing, but we did Arch Enemy Scheme or Coheed and Cambria.
Yeah.
And it was a tough one. It's hard sometimes. Like Mark Rosewater has said, it was either Mark Rosewater or Gavin Verhey. They said, if we do something and it hasn't been revisited, it did not do well.
Sure.
And Arch Enemy is one of those things. And
look, it got revisited.
Yeah, they did it. They did do
it. Oh my god, you're right. There was the second one. It was so forgettable.
Yeah.
I know that set symbol now.
It had like a Grim Lavamancer and a Baleful Strix. That was a big deal.
It had a Sun Titan.
Yeah, it had the lands from Ixalan, the buddy lands. And every time I get I'm like, I don't want this Drowned Catacomb. I want the other one.
I remember that. It had a Sun Titan.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was terrible.
That's wild.
That was some 2011, 2012 era Magic.
I think it was 2013.
It was after. No, I think it was closer to 14 or 15.
Crazy.
Yeah, it was because they put that out right before they put out like anthologies with Plane Chase and all those other ones. The Commander one.
Sure.
We are all so wrong.
Really?
This product released June 16th, 2017.
Holy shit.
This product came out when Trump was president.
Gah.
That's way later than I thought. Wow.
It was a Gatewatch themed product against Nico Bolas. That's why, because like that makes sense. Like now that we actually talk about it, it's like, oh right, it was Nissa, Chandra, Gideon, and I think that was against Nico Bolas.
Yeah.
But like, and that was Oath of the Gatewatch, Hour of Devastation, whatever. But it's just like, I don't remember this. That's not in my.
Oh yeah, it had like that horrible art, Nissa and Gideon. I remember that.
Chandra's like wearing her goggles for the first time ever. Very weird.
Yeah, that is weird.
Yeah, that was a product, all right. But speaking of lore, there have been a lot of story developments over the past couple weeks. Some of them were leaked, some of them were announced naturally. I think we can all agree that it would have been way cooler if the leaks hadn't shown us that kind of stuff.
Let me.
I'm not saying they did it well. I'm saying it would have been better.
No.
Right?
I like the idea of them giving us the cards before the story. I think that would have been a massive payoff, especially with like Tameo getting completed. That would have been insane to see that on a card first. Like, especially with all the stuff that they're doing in this story, which seems very Thing-like the Thing. There's a lot of like distrust and stuff, so it's, I don't know. I feel like I really wish that they would like expand on the story so much more. I read 2 of them today, and it was just so rushed. And there were some really good parts of them, but it's just like there's so much going on. It's like, wait, they're already in this other level of Phyrexia now. Like, wait, how did that even happen? You got to like backtrack. It's just not very. I really wish it was a lot more fleshed out than it is, and it just isn't. You get like 5 or 6 stories, little short stories. Like Warhammer.
Well, it can't be fleshed out because it's all metaled out.
Oh god.
Isn't Elesh Norn's lair called like the Flesh Dome or something?
It I can't remember what it is.
The Flesh Pits, maybe?
No, the right above it is the Dross Pits, I think, which is like where they completed Vraska and then Vraska turned on Jace, which is a really cool moment, by the way.
By the way, for all of our viewers, massive spoiler alerts, just like...
Yeah.
I think that they have to know that coming in.
I can say this,
sure.
though. The writing is a lot better than it has been in the past. I can say that for sure. Like,
no more a Johnny smiled his Leonin grin.
there's still a little bit of that, but it seems like they actually have an overarching like plan in place. I'm not going to go too far and say that they're actually doing their homework and fleshing stuff out, but it feels like they have an idea of where they want to take it. Whereas before it just kind of felt like stuff happens, you know, like I gotten really big into Warhammer lately, and like Warhammer lore is just god tier. It's so good. Everything that you like came from Warhammer. Warcraft, Starcraft, all of it. It all came from Warhammer. They just ripped it off. They have 64 books. Okay, there's this event called the Horus Heresy, right? Imagine if like the whole Urza saga was fleshed out over 100 fucking novels. That's how Warhammer treats it. The Horus Heresy happened, I don't know, like 25 years ago, and like Warhammer, like, you know, them planning the products, and they're just now finishing it, like 25 years later. Like the final 2 books come out this year and next year, and we don't even know what happens in the throne room, like when the main characters kill each other. Like we have no idea. It's just been speculation for 25 years.
That feels like it's kind of impenetrable, though, unless you're really, really enfranchised.
I mean, I feel like most people in the Magic sphere are really, really enfranchised.
Sure.
Like, I coming from or looking at Pokemon, like Pokemon people play the games, and the games or whatever, they're not super deep, but they're really cute. The characters are awesome. And like, there's a lot more like surface stuff in Pokemon. Whereas in Magic, people want to feel like they do about these characters, as like they do about Lord of the Rings or whatever.
Well,
but there's just
because the game has always come first in Magic.
Yes,
it's
exactly.
always you learn the game, and then you learn, okay, what's a plane? Okay, who's on this plane? Okay, this is a character, and you don't see a Thalia plushie at Walmart. It's not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and like they've been doing a lot of top-down sets, which are like characters first, and it's like, how are you going to do these character sets that are like all based in this plane and this cool aesthetic or whatever, and not flesh all of that out? You know, and like we're constantly hopping from plane to plane to plane to plane. They never really give it like that much time to really like grow, and you know, there's not a lot of character development, which is again kind of why ever since the Tameo thing, I've been like, okay, maybe they're really kind of kicking it up a notch. Like when Tameo came out completed, I was like, this is one of the coolest things they've ever done.
Yes.
I mean, they have a Netflix series in production? Question mark.
I don't know about that. Every day I lose a little bit more hope, and my Phyrexian mask goes closer over my face, like a moment in Bleach, and I'm just
like
I'm gonna have my water droplet moment where the screen goes black and there's a little water droplet, and like my facade just completes, and I go for all Phyrexian. But like, I want to believe in the Netflix series so bad.
Yeah, me too.
I don't care if it's bad.
I don't either. Just give us something. Give us something. Like, D&D has a horrible, awful movie that everybody watches because it's a D&D movie. Give us something.
Give us our bad Mario movie, and we can have the good one 30 years later with Chris Pratt. Just
I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care if the dialogue is all just Joss Whedon one-liners. Like, I will still watch it.
Like, Elish Norn is such a goddamn cool character. Like, all they would need to do is like just give us one novel. Just give us one novel. Where'd she come from? Who is she? What is her motivation? Like, any of that. Other than mustache twirling, cool design.
So, like, on that topic of constantly hopping worlds and we don't get enough time to flesh out the characters, we've said before on this podcast about one of the things when they announced March of the Machine, which is a bad set name with a bad visual for...
Horrible.
Beside the point. They said that there will be a thing that, quote, changes the fabric of the multiverse forever. And Mark Rosewater has confirmed that it's not Stranger Things becoming canon in Magic. That's not it. That was never going to be a thing.
It is Fortnite becoming canon in Magic, which means Goku is in Magic now.
I love all of the Fortnite clips where it's just Sasuke with a gun. Like, that never gets old.
It's like Sasuke with the gun, Morty from Rick and Morty, and like one of the Powerpuff Girls all beating up a Teletubby. That's Fortnite.
And then they all do like the flossing dance at once, and it's incredible. But so like they said that it'll change the fabric of the multiverse forever. One of the biggest speculations here, and there's reason to believe it, is the key art for that set has Teferi, Thalia, the elephant from Strixhaven, who's not a planeswalker, who I'm not going to pronounce, Quinidorus or whatever, but like it has a lot of planeswalker plus non-planeswalker doing the whole like Avengers Endgame with the portals and everyone running through. So like there's an argument to be made, and they've set all the groundwork for this, that the fabric of the multiverse changing is that like Interstate 81 gets installed between Kaladesh and Innistrad.
That's exactly what's going to happen, especially based on this latest story. So like,
what happens? TLDR.
So basically, there's like a world tree, right? The world tree from Kaldheim is like Phyrexia's like made their own version, and it goes through. That's how they're planeswalking, is they're using the world tree. So it attaches to like Innistrad and like all of the other planes. And the setting of this story is they're trying to like blow that world tree up, right? And well, spoiler alert, at the end they don't, because I couldn't understand really why. Like they were all heading that way, and then Kaya was like, "No, let's not do it." And then Jace was like, "I'm gonna do it," and then he like turned, and then like Elspeth like stabbed Jace and killed him, but didn't kill him because he's Phyrexian. Grabbed it and then planeswalked with the with the Sylex away, right? So we don't know what happened. So Elspeth is somewhere. Exploding with the fucking Sylex. But yeah, like basically the world tree attaches to everyone, and they have like giant armies on each of the branches already heading into other worlds. And then Elish Norn like shows up, it's like, "Sup, mommy's here," and she's like, "Hey, check it out, here's Nissa, here's Nahiri, here's all your friends, they're all Phyrexianized, why don't you join us?" That's how the story ends.
So you're saying Thanos took the Bifrost so he could move his armies to New York?
Correct.
Man, there is one plot these days. You know,
I know.
Did it first.
Yeah.
Gilgamesh really did it first.
There is one plot. That's a genius line.
Well, the set symbol for March of the Machines is Elspeth's sword going through the Phyrexian symbol. So like that seems pretty hitting the story with a hammer of like Elspeth comes back as some cool angel god planeswalker.
Yeah.
I mean, did you see the art that was? I mean, it was part of the story, but it had Elspeth like exploding with the Sylex.
I saw her getting like dusted.
Yeah, so like apparently
snapped.
So in the story, she basically planeswalks right after that happens. So we don't know where she went with it, and we don't know what happened with it. But then Elish Norn shows up, and it's like, "Hey, we're sending our armies in. GG, boys." Which is cool. Let the bad guys win one time.
You know what the actual coolest thing to come out of this All Will Be One stuff is we have a translation guide and a phonetic guide for speaking
Phyrexian.
Sick. There's a dude on TikTok who his like whole thing is he can speak Sumerian or whatever.
Yeah.
What? He can speak what?
Sumerian. Like
this is the language guy.
Like Cuni. He knows how to pronounce cuneiform or whatever. Like he speaks like people from ancient Sumeria did. He's like a linguist. He's an ancient language guy. I just want him to be like talking in Phyrexian on TikTok one day. Like that would be cool as hell.
That would be very cool. That's awesome. Like that's the bleed that Magic needs is
exactly
somebody just scrolling TikTok mindlessly and they say, "What language is that?"
It's
and
like
wait, what's that?
Trekkie's learning Klingon. It's like Trekkie's learning Klingon.
Yes, that's the direct analogy there.
I will say though, if they there's so many like hints that this is probably going to happen. It's going to piss me off. If they can undo Phyrexian and like they're just fine afterwards, I'm going to throw my laptop out of the window.
Yes, that is the most abhorrent thing they could do.
And there's already hints that that's probably what's going to happen.
Give me stakes that matter.
Yeah, exactly. Like let people die.
So would you be okay? And I'm not saying this is okay. Would you be okay if they cure Phyresis, but like the planeswalker is like horribly scarred or like just completely like mechanized and like a shell of their former self?
So in the current stories, like Malira's alive, right? And Malira is like she's immune to the oil.
That's the story of Last of Us, actually, Malira.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, wow, holy shit. So Malira,
have you ever seen I Am Legend?
yeah.
God.
So in the story, like Nahiri gets like kind of scraped on her neck, and of course she gets infected, and she kind of hides it from everybody. She goes to Malira and is like, "Yo, can you fix this?" And she's like, "I can, but it's going to take like days, and you're going to be scarred forever from it." Like the way that they describe it is like tendrils going through, and you have to. It's like picking up roots of something, so you're pulling up all of this other dirt, right? So the plants that it's wrapped around are most likely going to die. That's how they like describe it. So it's incredibly difficult to unphyrexianize as it stands in the story now. Now, they also make a point to say that if you're a Phyrexianized walker, you have a soul, which is the whole point of Phyrexianizing them, I guess, or they can't get rid of the soul, I guess. So there is still the old version somewhere in there, right? So they make a point to kind of make that a thing, which is like so lame.
Jace.jpg is backed up somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. And he's gonna like erase their minds, and then they're not gonna be Phyrexia anymore. They can go so many places with it that are cool, and I just know they're not going to. But maybe that's just jaded.
I want
old
a full
Kyle.
Jace heel turn. Give me a full Jace.
Yeah,
heel turn.
100%. Make him the big baddie.
Yeah.
100%. That was all over Reddit today. I was like, yes, that would be so sick. Like, absolutely. He's been the face forever. We've always wanted him to just die. Just let him die, and or make him Nicol Bolas 2.0.
That would be the coolest way to do it, is to make him evil and have us be like, oh no, he's not dead. He's just the worst now. And have him be like slick, like have him just slick back his hair, and then like he's suddenly very cool, and he's no longer like he just immediately hits puberty.
Has Jace ever been a color other than blue? I guess Space Bellerin is blue-white, but that's not canon, maybe?
I think he's only been blue.
Yeah, I mean, maybe get a little...
Kess Wiley on Twitter made a strong argument for him being blue, green, or teamer.
A teamer villain would be kind of cool.
Blue-black I could see.
Well, that's the thing. In that Twitter thread, he strongly argues for not black, because he's never been self-interested. He's never been this like super mega ambitious, cutthroat, cunning dude. He's just a bumbling dude who just tries to find stuff out. He was very closely tied to investigating clues on Innistrad, which is very blue-green, and like he's always been very impulsive and irrational in his decision making. Passionate and irrational decision making, just like Chandra. Like he just thinks halfway through and then goes and does it. Like he fought his own mentor Alhamara. He's like, hey, you've been tricking me, I'm gonna fight you, and he just gets zapped. Like he doesn't think things through, so he's blue, green, and red.
What's the color of Mary Sue? That's what color it should be.
You could also argue for white in a sense, because like he has a sense of justice, misplaced or not, because like he became a planeswalker when he got bullied too hard as a kid.
Yes.
It's like, honestly, any color but black would fit Jace.
Yes.
Does he have a Tesla now?
You know how you won't get bullied as a kid is by knowing the prices of Magic cards very effectively at your local school. And the best way to do that is to go to MTGStocks.com, where they can give you all of the pricing data. They can give you updated sheets and technology. The future is now for MTG stocks. I use it every day to find my picks of the week, my breaking bulks. I use it in conjunction with many, many tools in this industry to just know the price of the cards that I'm selling sometimes. And 5 of the cards that I'm going to have you guys know the price of are the 5 mythic guild leaders, some of who are Phyrexian now, from Guilds of Ravnica. So Guilds of Ravnica was a set where all of the mythics are sub like $7. It did not age particularly well in that department. But we have 5 guild leaders from the old Magic story, the old Nicol Bolas arc. And y'all have to list them in price order. So we have Vraska, we have Aurelia, we have Lazav, we have Tristani, and then we have Ral.
So Tristani, Ral, and Aurelia is like $3-4, I think. High end.
I'm gonna go.
I feel like Lazav is super cheap because it was like in a commander precon.
It's been reprinted like 3 times too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lazav has 1 reprint, which is way less than you might think.
Sure.
He was just in the list, and that is it.
Oh wow! I thought he was. Oh, maybe I'm thinking of the other Lazav.
I'm gonna fire off my order as. I'm actually gonna say Trostani is the most expensive. I'm gonna totally go back on what I said a moment ago. I'm gonna say Trostani, Vraska, Aurelia, Ral, and Lazov. No, Lazov then Ral. Ral is my bottom pick.
I'm gonna
That
say
Planeswalker is just very bad.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, God, it's so. I think it's so close between Lazov and Aurelia at the top. Actually, it's really close between Lazov, Aurelia, and Vraska. So I'm gonna say my gut says Lazov, Aurelia, Vraska, and then Ral, and then Trostani.
I realized Trostani is like, for some reason in my head Trostani is a $5-6 card, and I feel like I'm
That's
just
the other
wrong on that.
Yeah, that's the other Trostani, I believe.
But I think that one's even cheap now too. So I'm actually
Yeah,
can I revise mine after hearing Kyle's, do some real bush league?
Last chance. Last
I'm gonna
call
put-
for.
Okay, I'm gonna say Aurelia, Vraska, Lazov, Trostani, Ral.
So it is real. It is. Vraska is the breakaway here by far. Vraska is the most expensive at around $4.
Okay.
She
Wow.
kind of crept up over the past couple years. She was a bulk mythic for a very long time, and now she's a queen. We're standing her now. I think that's the correct terminology. And Aurelia, somewhat close behind, around $2, and the rest of them are just basically bulk.
Lazov is bulk?
$1.21 TCG market.
Wow.
Around $1 TCG market. Yeah. Lazov the Multifarious, he spiked from minute early COVID to like $6 because there was some kind of competitive strategy with him.
Are you playing Kethis decks?
Yeah, that's what it was. You could go infinite with him and Kethis, and it was a flash of the pan kind of thing, but like it didn't pan out, and so most of these are just bulk mythics, which is wild. Just
Yeah, I know.
and the crazier thing I think about these is none of them have reprints really. None of these were reprinted.
Just Lazov, right?
Well, it's a big problem now.
Lazov is a list printing, which is not super high supply. Aurelia has a promo pack printing, with the one with the little Planeswalker symbol on the art.
Yeah.
Tristani as a starter commander deck reprint, but that wasn't like what crashed her. She was just around $1 or $2 before that. Like none of these have a ton of. Vraska has the most reprints. I mean, she has a secret lair which doesn't count, a mythic edition which doesn't count, and a crazy weird Japanese promo that doesn't count. But like,
so like 5-6 years ago, like actual reprints were the dominating factor in like price movement, right? So like a card would come out. I mean, even when it was spoiled, prices would start tanking, right? Whereas now, I feel like a large percentage of it now is just like power creep. Like there's so many cards printed what is it? 65% of all cards have been printed in the last 3 years.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's like so. I can tell you that our SKUs when we started our current store, our online SKUs were somewhere around 65,000 for Magic. I believe it's over 125,000 now.
That's crazy.
Like that's an insane number of additional cards in the last 4 years that we're talking about. So like people have so you have Lazov and then any other blue-black creature, right? Like they have so many different creatures to choose from, and most people are going to buy newer sets. So no card's ever going to get above like 50 cents to $1. It's just how it works now. Unless it's like an absolute breakout, like Urza Lord Protector or whatever.
Sure. And we still have cards from years past Spike. Like that still happens. It's just cards change in price a lot more frequently now too.
Yeah.
And there's too much to keep track of, so that players on average generally don't know as much about how much their cards are worth, which tends to make just a lot of things very different than the world we used to know.
The possible reprint frequency is like through the roof too. Like back in the day, it was like, oh, a commander set's coming out. Everybody pause. Let's see what's going to get reprinted. Yep. Oh, snap. It was only 5 or 6 cards. Okay, cool. We're fine. Right. Now it's just like, you don't even know what's being reprinted because there are like 35 commander decks a year. It's just like, oh, just another commander deck, whatever. Like what's even in that one? I don't even know.
It does provide more chance now than ever for players to pick up cheap cards. Dominaria Remastered tanked so many things. Just so many
really
cards.
Did,
$1 now. Like Birds of Paradise is a few bucks. all the check lands are $1 again. Exploration is sub 10 for the first time in a decade.
Which is crazy.
Even weird stuff like Helm of Awakening is now bulk rare. Like, there's just so many of these. We got one that in the Mark Rosewater teaser that kind of got leaked, which is a little unfortunate. For those who don't know, Mark Rosewater, the lead designer of Magic, does a little teaser every set, which is every 2 days now. He does a little teaser where he mentions 1 or 2 attributes of a card, and it's always been a fun little game on this podcast to guess them, to just try to figure out, this could be this. This could mean this card goes up. What does this mean? For an example, one of them is a reprint with Phyrexian in its name that is not Phyrexian Obliterator, because that was one of the first cards previewed. The three of us were like, oh, what is that? Is that Phyrexian Altar? What is the... Oh. It's Phyrexian Arena. Because it got leaked.
Because it was spoiled, yeah. To be fair, though, the art and the flavor text on that are phenomenal. Sorry, to be fair, the art and the flavor text on that are phenomenal.
That is true.
They are, and I think that's one of the biggest examples of just how leaks kind of suck, is if they had gotten a better chance to preview that. Again, I don't think they did it the best way. The best way to preview that is some crazy, like, reveal at Magic 30 at Philly where smoke is happening and they act it out on stage or something crazy. I don't know, but, like... I
have a point I think I want to make as far as leaks go.
Sure.
So, in other properties, so Pokemon leaks never happen, almost never. Yu-Gi-Oh, they happen extremely rarely, and when they do happen, it's a big deal in the community, and that type of leak never happens again, right? So I've seen a lot of like not vitriol, but like a lot of like negative comments about people who are leaking stuff. Look, the way that I grew up with Magic was like, in the Rank Elf days, the MTG Salvation, like we wanted, like, don't like hate on people because they're really excited for the new set. Hate on Wizards because they're doing really poor examples. They're like running their security like amateurs. Like this doesn't happen in other IPs, right? That's the only thing I want to say on that.
I think that's not true necessarily. Like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet had the full list of Pokemon with images spoiled before the game was out.
That's true, but before then, it was very, very, like, super tight.
Sun and Moon, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon had the same problem. Or Sun and Moon had the same problem. Sword and Shield had somewhat of that problem. The DLC for Sword and Shield got leaked early. Like, these leaks are really common in those other things, but in Pokemon especially, but they're not spread as much. Like, it's not like a stigma for looking at them, but people just don't look them out as quickly because there's way less incentive too. Like, in Magic,
there's no financial incentive to know...
Or competitive incentive.
Yeah.
But people still care, right? People are going to, like, care about your IP. Like, I guess the point I'm trying to make is, like, don't hate on people who are, like, getting excited for the new set.
Right.
Hate on Wizards for not doing their job.
There are leaks in the past that have been intentional. I do think that, like, there is a guerrilla marketing aspect to this that can be played. One of the most iconic examples I can think of, which is a very bad card, is Simic Flux Mage, I think it was, just showed us whatever the RTR Simic mechanic early, and it was just a Simic card that was probably intentionally inserted into a number of RTR packs, and that's fine. That it's okay if you occasionally just do that.
That stuff builds hype.
Yes. It is much worse when it is somebody accidentally opens 1 million all will be one rares in a booster box. Like that's
it was 50
and then you have to make a
cards
public statement about it. Like that's
right. Although, WotC has a good long history of public statements that like the Space Godzilla one.
Oh, that one's not their fault. Out of all...
No, but it's deeply funny. I'm just saying.
It is extremely funny.
WotC announcements can be quite funny.
This WotC announcement is from Mark Rosewater. To get back to it, we have Affinity returning on 3 cards.
No.
No, like actual Affinity.
Affinity.
Yeah.
Affinity for blank. We've seen Affinity for Clowns last year, but this is probably some variant of Affinity for maybe artifacts or planeswalkers. Or
there was Affinity for tokens in Horizons 2.
Yes.
I think that was a great mechanic.
Yeah.
Honestly, Affinity for Phyrexians would be cool.
Oh yeah, where it's a creature type based.
Yeah.
And it's like some
Tribal.
10 mana giant like death monster that just
That's like
Tribal, but
Toxic
not
10
tribal.
or something. One of my favorite things in the Morrow spoiler list is the creature type section. Artifact creature Phyrexian Masticore has me super hype.
Yeah.
I remember when Scars of Mirrodin was being spoiled, and they spoiled. Or I saw Molten Tail Masticore for the first time, and I was like, "Whoa!"
That was the first Masticore that they had brought back, right?
Yes.
You had Razormane Masticore in original Mirrodin.
Oh, it was, yeah.
Yeah. But seeing a 4-mana Masticore that like was very reminiscent of the original, I was like,
The
Is this thing
original
gonna
was
be broken?
so busted.
And
The original
it's
was so
always
busted.
so cool when they manage to do that generates so much hype, and then it's a bulk mythic.
Yeah, yeah.
that card saw a little bit of play in Standard. A little bit. It was in the Vengevine decks.
The original Massacre was just so much, like, it was just so busted. It came out towards the tail end of, like, Combo Summer and all that, right? Because Destiny there were still combos in there. But then the Wildfire deck came out with, like, all the artifact mana and then, like, Wildfire. And you would just drop the Massacre and just, like, Wildfire the next turn. And it was just so powerful.
I
was a lot of
remember I was playing the Gold Border World Champs decks, and I had Tinker versus some other
Oh,
deck.
yeah.
And I would like cast Tinker on turn 3, and I'd like go to look through my deck, and I'd be, I can get a Mishra's Helix, or I can get a Phyrexian Processor. I just grabbed Masticore like 90% of the time. Like, it was so good.
Okay, so one of the last things on this list that has the potential to generate so much content is Sword of X and Y. We have 2 more swords remaining. What
Which
do
ones
you
are they?
guys think it is?
So
What colors
it's
are they?
blue, black,
And red-green.
Red-green.
Ooh, those are good
Red
color
green would make
combos.
sense.
Would it?
I mean, you have like Luca, like I don't know, it kind of feels like something that might go together. But blue black
Blue
could also
black
work.
is literally poison in terms of toxic and all that.
It could be like sort of Blight in Progress or something.
That's
It's
great.
progress.
How did you just come up with that right now?
Yeah,
That's great. That's just like
I just
probably
picked
what it
2
is.
Phyrexian keywords.
Yeah.
Let's just make it like Umazawa's Jit. Like, just busted.
Isn't Sword of Progress already one of them? Like the blue white one, right?
Yeah,
Is like,
No, that's Truth and Justice.
Oh, yeah, no, Blight in Progress would be great.
Yeah.
There's no Blight Sword? I thought one of the... No, I guess that's...
No, the black swords are Feast and Famine, Light and Shadow, and what's the red black one?
Red black is Sinew and Steel.
Yeah. So like, sort of Blight in Progress. Mark it down if I'm right. Venmo me $20.
That's everybody, right? Like if you're
Correct.
listening
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
cast, you're financially obligated to.
If you are a listener of the podcast, I know there are dozens of you. If each of you Venmo me $20, I can buy that Bugatti I've always wanted. I don't want a Bugatti, to be clear.
Bugatti.
I mean, if you donate 20 to Cass, and then if you go to patreon.com/BSB and you donate as little as $5 an episode, that averages out to like $30 or $40 an episode. Which, if you carry the one, and then add in some crypto, and then I mean that checks out. Math checks.
And it's gone.
It's basically free to buy me a new car.
Yeah, I mean, the math doesn't lie, and I just want to know what the math behind the next sword is. I want to what's the red green one?
Gives it haste.
This is already taking way longer than it should, according to precedent.
Gives it haste, puts a force into player, basic land, and I don't know, deals
I'm
damage.
opening my third eye.
I'm just trying to think of a cool name.
Blue black one
Sort
is
of
more
Hoot and
intriguing.
Holler. Book it.
That better be in the next unset.
Yeah, honestly.
The blue black has me
Jenny-
more intrigued.
To any of my WotC friends listening to the episode, Hoot and Holler is on the house.
You're generous.
I want to say red is passion, like sort of like P word for green and passion, like.
Ooh, actually, what if the sword in this set is the red green sword, and it's like sort of heresy and something because Urabrask is a heretic.
Oh.
Heresy would be a really good red word for a sword.
Yes.
Like sort of progress and heresy would actually work for green. Progress would work for green too.
Do any of the new planeswalkers, like Gideon, turn into a creature?
No.
So they
I
can
don't
wield
so.
it? That'd be kind of sick.
But like all the sword arts have never focused on any other person wielding the sword. It's always the sword. That's the only thing in the frame.
The blue-black one has me more intrigued because it's got to be like card draw and creature destruction, so it's going to be busted.
Yeah. Is proliferate used yet?
It's blue-white. The blue-white sword.
It's proliferate and blink. Is that it? Okay.
Yeah. The blue-black sword could be something like... we already have a Raised Dead.
What was that like card draw mechanic from like Guilds or Ravnica Legions? It was like you look at the top two, put one in the graveyard, one in your
Surveil?
hand. Yeah.
Surveilling would be kind of cool.
I don't know if it's a mechanic in the set, but I don't
think it's not evergreen, is it?
Not yet. I don't know.
Oh, I guess it would have to be.
So we have a new type of counter that's probably some like a Phyrexian counter. That's whatever.
Oil counter, right?
It's gotta be.
Right. We already know that. Yeah. 4-color legendary creature. It's new
Atraxa.
Yep.
Yeah, because her daughter is in one of the commander sets.
Atraxa has a kid?
Yeah, it's like her offspring, or it's like her descendant or something, and she's like a mini Atraxa, but she's also busted in her own way. She's like a 2/4, and she has all these abilities. She's in one of the stories. She kills Geth. She chops Geth's head off.
What?
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
Poor Geth.
Yeah, you told me this is going to be about the story, so I watched 3 Aether Hub videos, and I read the last 2.
Well, you're coming in clutch.
I did none of that. I'm just riffing.
Yeah, it was
a new keyword with an exclamation point in its name. Do we know this?
It's
exclamation point.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
See, we can get leaks and still not know what the hell we're talking about. That's the beauty of this podcast.
One of the things is a card that references spheres and locuses. If we get another locust in this set, Cloudpost might pop off.
Is it? Wait, one of the lands references locusts.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like if you have like X locust / what are the other land types?
Sphere and basic land.
Sphere and basic, yeah. Then it becomes like a 9/9 creature or something.
Yeah, but like imagine if they put another locust. You stop playing 12 post, you start playing 16 post. Get your Candelabra of Tawnos, pick of the week.
All right, so one of the last things on this Mark Rosewater trailer, it says a new shirt with a cast member on it. What does that mean?
I believe that is a segue into our pitch for Coalesce Apparel and Design.
Oh, that's right, because we're sponsored by this incredible apparel company that just makes really, really good products and stickers. And like I was at GP New Jersey. I was at GP New Jersey recently, and probably 30% of the room is just, I see that little thing on the shoulder, and I'm like, yep, that's a Coalesce one. Yep, that's a Coalesce one. Yep, that person's a Coalesce one.
Really? I have Ristic Studies on under here. Yeah, I got the Ristic Studies shirt on under here.
They're everywhere. I mean, you can't afford to not wear one. What are you gonna do? Be the one person in the room without a Coalesce shirt? I mean, that's gonna cost you. Like,
you will get bullied if you don't have a Coalesce shirt.
Yep. Okay, so the train here is you get bullied, you turn into a planeswalker, you end up a Phyrexian. It's full circle. Like, you're guaranteed to just live the life of a Jace Bellerin, and nobody wants that. You're gonna end up with slicked back hair and just be a villain pulling a sword out of your chest.
Driving a Tesla.
If you don't buy a Coalesce hoodie, you're gonna be an Elon Musk fanboy. What are you doing?
Or if you like Elon Musk, you're not gonna be one.
And that Coalesce pitch ends with me mentioning the gift code. Say it with me, everyone. Say it with me loud in your car. Just roll your windows down and scream it to the heavens. Brainstorm Brewery for 10% off your total order.
10% off total order. That's what I said.
Yeah. And we have a new third shirt in the works. It's in the Phyrexian processor. We're going to pay X amount of life, and we're going to make a big token shirt, and it's going to be very, very, very cool. I'm very excited for it. I'm also very excited for my own pick of the week because it is one from Cass, and all of Cass's picks have been fire lately.
What can I say?
Pick of the week, pick of the week, pick of the week. Time for the pick of the week.
My pick of the week is a card that I brewed with back in the original Phyrexia. As a high schooler, it is Rage Extractor. If you don't know what this card is, it is one of the original Phyrexian mana cards, and it allowed you to do Phyrexian mana tribal. So it's an artifact, and it says whenever you play a card with a Phyrexian mana symbol in its rule and its mana cost, you just get to deal that much damage to something or someone. It's wild. And with Phyrexian Planeswalkers, you can just pay 5 mana for Nissa now and deal a whole bunch of damage. Like, it's very, very flexible and very, very low supply, because when have they ever reprinted Phyrexian mana, and when will they?
It's also a decade-old uncommon. New Phyrexia was a decade ago. Not that one. Really so good.
Yeah. Boxes are like $11.50 now.
That's crazy.
How is this card a quarter? I thought this would be like a Breaking Bulk at least.
No, I think it's a really good like pick of the week because it's so cheap. Like, your opportunity cost on getting them is so low.
Yeah, if you can find just a brick of 100 of these and buy list them for 50 cents later on, you just pay for a free Coalesce t-shirt.
How much is a foil?
Ooh, hold on. Let me guess. $7.89.
You highballed it so hard.
It's like $2.
Not even.
All those old foils are either like infinite or like.
I clicked a button on MTG Stocks to show all the foils. There is an LP foil on TCG Player for 46 cents.
Oh wow,
I might buy
that's
that
the
tonight.
play.
Yeah. Both versions are cheap. The card has like a lot of upside and very low downside.
I mean, it deals the spell's converted mana cost, and so like when you play that Phyrexian Nissa, you're dealing 7.
Yeah.
You're dealing that spell's full mana value. So
yeah,
that's. And then I think that Nissa immediately minuses to like do something crazy.
That Nissa's such a cool design.
Enchantment. That card's so cool.
It's such a cool design.
Oh, this is funny. So if you click the direct filter, there are a few stores that have jumped the gun on this. The direct premium for a near mint foil Rage Extractor is $12.
Yep.
Wow.
There you go.
Because I was like, oh, I'm gonna filter by stores that have 4 or more. That's what the direct premium is if you want to buy a playset.
Sure.
Well,
if you want to buy a playset, it's $12 per copy.
If the market is still low, the TCG market is still low. Just get them from your LGS.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true too. My pick of the week is also a card from New Phyrexia, I think. Malira Sylvok Outcast.
Yep.
One of the only ways to avoid getting poison counters in the game. One printing from a decade-old set. There's possibly some cool callback stuff because like people open the new Malira and they want the old one to go with it. Also, at one point was a modern like bannable combo piece. Like
I played the hell out of Malira. I had a Chinese foil that I played and bridge shuffled for like 3 years.
Card's like $4 if I remember correctly. Like it's not a bad pick. It's a little bit riskier than like Rage Extractor at a quarter, but it's kind of card that if you don't have a copy for yourself, get one. If you want to buy a couple to stash away, it seems like a pretty solid idea.
We've picked a lot of Scars block stuff for very clear reasons. I think that are delineated by just Infect as a design mechanic and Poison counters as a mechanic.
Sets drawing up.
Yeah, a couple of mine from last month were Skitherix, and I think I picked Leeches too, just because like it's just probably free.
Something that differentiates returning to Mirrodin as opposed to returning to Innistrad is very much its top-down set, right? Mirrodin, the mechanics are what kind of make the cards cohesive, and mechanics are oftentimes what cause old cards to spike. And so, like, when you return to Mirrodin, looking at old cards from Mirrodin and Scars of Mirrodin are more likely to go up, and if you go to Innistrad, like, random creature with the human creature type isn't going to spike because of Innistrad reprint. Or
you buy Moon Mist and hate yourself.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, compared to like Ravnica and Innistrad block, Scars block is not reprinted that much for like a lot of cards. I mean, and from a sales perspective, like almost every common that has Infect on it is worth like, not only is worth a little bit, but also sells a ton when we get them in stock. So, yeah. So I guess mine would be I've got kind of a couple, but they're. What's the most expensive pick of the week? Do you think?
The most expensive. I once picked just all revised duels, so like
that's solid. Yeah,
I said Candelabra a few minutes ago.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna say like anything reserve list, World Championship, like Gold Border, but.
I think that's a similar. I think I did pick something very similar like a month or two ago.
I
said Survival and City of Traders. I was like, those are the good ones.
I was gonna say City of Traders is phenomenal. It's like $600 to $7. The real
another
version's
really good one.
$300. I'm really gonna say Cradle. Because Cradle's like, you can get them for $150 in decent shape, and Mint you can get them for $200. Like, Cradle's just always going up. It's gonna forever grow up. With Magic 30 not doing what they wanted it to do, there's no supply of that. And I don't know if you've been following the prices of those cards. I was right. That stuff is like popping off because it's super, super low printed, but they're likely not going to do that again, which is what we thought they were going to do, like reprint Urza Saga and all those, because it was like a quote unquote failure, right? Collectability wise, it's absolutely insane.
They will be giving them out in Magic 30 in Philly to some extent. We don't know how much.
And Vegas and stores are still getting some, right? But World Championship stuff like fills that same kind of like proxy niche. Pre-modern is allowing it. Like World Champion stuff is insane. And then I guess
CEDH allows it.
CEH, yeah. Like I would say that another one is like the Warhammer decks, either premium or regular. As a Warhammer fan, there's some really, really cool moments that don't exist in Warhammer art that are in the Magic set that Warhammer fans are going to want to buy once that knowledge is out and spread out. And this, even though it feels like the regular versions haven't been printed that much, or have been printed a lot, let me tell you, as like from a store perspective, that it sells an insane amount, and there's none of it out there. So 2 to 3 years down the road, those sets are going to be insane. I'm sitting on a ton of it.
It is not something they'll just like redo. It's not something they're just gonna be like, oh right, remember that Warhammer thing we did 4 years ago? Well, we'll reprint it again. They'll be on to the next thing.
They're not going to reprint the Past in Flames that literally shows Cadia exploding. Like, they're not going to show that, right? That's not going to be reprinted ever again. And it's one of the coolest things I've ever seen as a Warhammer / Magic fan. That I didn't even know about until I was going through the decks. Like, wait, what? This is like literally showing a Blackstone Fortress crashing into Cadia. That's freaking awesome. And
I knew nothing about Warhammer before the Magic set, and now I'm all in on the lore. I'm thinking about building an army, and it's dangerous financially.
Yeah.
Like Tyrannid's armies cost how much?
Bunch of new stuff's coming out too. I'm all in on Angron. Like, that's my G. Like, it's so cool. Yeah, but this isn't a Warhammer podcast. But anyway, Warhammer's awesome.
We can make it one.
we are close to completing the original, just like phasing out every person who's ever been on Brainstorm Brewery forever and replacing them. So like, I'm the Malira of this podcast. Like, Corbin's probably gonna die soon this week. Like, that's who knows. All right, well, that has been a lot of Phyrexian talk. Kyle has enlightened us onto the stories that I need to catch up on. I listened to and read all of the stories from Scars of Mirrodin back in the day as a kid, and I feel like I would be doing myself an injustice if I continued to ignore them. So I will still set the reminder out there. If there's anybody who is just like doing a straight audiobook style read, I will pay for that Patreon. I'll do it. Just let me listen to it while I'm on my run or while I'm driving. Nobody has time for physical media anyway. Like, Amazon, give me a Kindle sponsorship or something. And Amazon, like Audible, give me an Audible sponsorship. Just let me pitch more things. But for now, I will pitch it to Cass and Kyle so that they can plug their pluggables, and so that we can end the episode. And hopefully everyone will be back to normal soon.
Yeah, if you want to find me on the internet, you can find me at Devoted Druid on Twitter, or if you're in the woods at night, you might hear me making some bird calls. Do not approach me. It is dangerous. How about you, Kyle?
I'm Bash McAllister on Twitter, cardrich.io on Instagram and Twitter. We're going to be doing, we actually just launched it today, and I'm probably going to get in trouble for doing this instead of paying more attention to it. We have like a pretty aggressive Magic buy list that beats everybody, and I mean everybody. We also doing the same thing for Pokemon. If you're in Louisville, come by the store. It's Through the Decades. It's the best store in America. I'm going to just say that with my whole fucking chest. That's it. We do Pokemon events. We're probably going to be at the Magic cons. I haven't really figured that out yet, but yeah, that's pretty much all of it.
I cannot speak to the best store in the country statement, but I can speak to the power of your bio list. I'm sending you a 1 row of cards this weekend. It's right here. But Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks
so
everyone
that'll
for coming on.
Sorry, that'll be we'll try to do that like every week or so. So yeah.
Love it. Send all your breaking bulks to Kyle for more money than you'll get if you sell them on TCG Player. I'll say that.